Hi there. So if you're watching this, hopefully you saw the introduction video. This video is going to start about, it basically is going to be about my time with the Department of Revenue. I'm going to try to keep them concise, but sometimes you gotta properly elucidate the internal conditions, right? So, unfortunately, like many people, I was a pandemic layoff that occurred. I was working at Ashland Partners and Company, lovely internal control auditing firm down in Southern Oregon. And, being let go during the pandemic can be harrowing, but I was quickly scooped up by the Oregon Department of Revenue because they were looking for good auditors, of which I am. And in case you're doubting that, if you look at they promoted me from the TAE up to a senior auditor in the multi-entity domestic corporations unit. So like in under 2 years, or within a 2-year time span, to go from TAE to TA2. Right. This is evidence that you know what you're doing. So when I was first hired, I was hired by a manager. I don't know if I should be using names here, so I'll keep them in my head for now. That manager, gentleman, was, I came to learn very quickly, abusing the women in the office. In fact, when he hired me, he said it's good to have more men around, which was a very odd thing to hear. Almost to the point where it felt like that was a condition of my hire. So odd. But one thing I heard immediately from a lot of the women around me was that he was very sexist towards them. Now, being a man myself, I do have daughters, lovely wife. They are, they know what sexism is from the female perspective better than I ever could. So when a woman tells me that she's experiencing sexism, I believe her, because I can't hope to understand it like she can. And trust me, this guy didn't really hide it very much. So I frequently, I witnessed, and others with me, witnessed some of our female coworkers even weeping in their cubicles, openly weeping because of their interactions with this man. Some of them would erupt into massive, some of our more senior female auditors erupted into massive shouting matches that filled the office, mind you. And this is when it was just like, maybe like 4 of us in there, but they were still screaming at that manager. A lot of really bad things. And they also told me that he retaliates. He's very petty and retaliates all the time. So me, being an auditor, being a systems guy, I understand what I need to do. And I decided, gosh darn it, Tom, you used to stand up to bullies all the time when you were a young kid. Got you into trouble, got you into plenty of fights, a lot of physical conflict. But darn it, that's how you were raised, to stand up to bullies, to stand up to people who are stronger, who are strong like you, but use it to trot upon weak people rather than help build them up and protect them. That's how you were raised. That's what you're going to do. And I came to that conclusion while going on a long walk and oddly enough, listening to the soundtrack to Man of Steel with Superman, who has always been one of my favorite characters growing up. So that's when I went, okay, let's do this, because I knew he was going to come after me. But I am uniquely qualified to do what I need to do. So he's already under investigation. And mind you, while he's doing all these horrible things to people, you know what they do when they put them on investigation and they're a manager, by the way, your tax dollars at work? They let them enjoy a holiday, essentially. They go, oh, let's put you on administrative leave. We're going to pay you and you can sit at home and do nothing while we investigate. They don't do that for the workers, mind you. They don't put us on administrative leave. No, we have to keep working in those conditions. So they like to pay the predatory managers your tax dollars while they're under investigation for being predatory. Just want to put that out there. That's something that might interest you taxpayers like me. And I found it infuriating just as much as you. So I essentially tell the HR people, because they're asking me, because I witnessed one of his many infractions. They ask me, hey, what did you witness? Can you corroborate this? And it almost felt like I was being tested to see if I would go down on the side of management, because just the way that the culture was, and also what everyone was telling me who had been there for a while. So that's always a frightening thing. See, as an auditor, you interview people frequently, including other auditors, to get like the straight dope on what the system is so that you can audit it better. Okay, so I'm used to this. Okay, I'm also used to arguing in front of magistrates and things, right? So trust me, I really know what I'm doing here. So I tell them, okay, well, I don't pretend to know what sexism is from the female perspective. I can't. But I have heard from multiple people, multiple women in my office that he is sexist, not just one. Multiple women. And also, I can corroborate this woman's story about him. Yes. Now, I chose to do this because this manager absolutely adored me, because I was a guy. And it was almost like he was wanting to groom me to become like their lead guy there. But he was an awful man. He was just behaving completely inappropriately for leadership. And that's the worst thing, really. So I basically know it's coming. Okay, so I was very diligent at logging everything, including the fact that another auditor had clued me into him having like these little black books that he would always seem to have on him, and he'd open them up and take little notes. And so I would look and go like, what's he doing now? And I saw him, many times at his cubicle. This man has access to all of your tax information, mind you. Opening up his little black books and writing things down while he's looking at a screen, right? And then he just takes them home. I don't know what he wrote down, but it's probably something that should have been looked into. You probably shouldn't just let this man resign after taking a very long holiday at the taxpayer's expense, which is what ended up happening after this whole shebang, because he was found out dead to rights that he was retaliating against me. It was dead to rights. I logged it perfectly and gave Brittany Green, which I will say her name because she's the HR director. At that time, she wasn't, but she worked with me on that. I gave her all that evidence, including the black book evidence, and somehow it all just went away. He wasn't held accountable for anything. He was able to simply cash out all of his accrued paid leave, your tax dollars at work, and then just, without any culpability, no investigation. I was expecting felony charges, potentially. Nothing happened, and he left. I guess they considered that a win. It wasn't a win for the people of Oregon. It was a win for the department, covering their tracks as they always do. So it was at that point that I knew that the department had a massive corruption problem and cared more about political points than doing their job. And so I'm thinking, oh, hey, I should probably get to know the union better, because I did all this on my own. Just because I am a very competent auditor. One of the best, actually. As evidenced by the fact that this guy isn't there anymore. So, just auditing the records and presenting it. But then, of course, Brittany Green has this chilling effect because she is defending the department against political problems, not doing her job. Okay? And there'll be more evidence of that going on. So what do? I start to ingratiate myself with the union. And that is going to be in the next video. Thank you.